The world was quiet the night the message came. No warning, no light in the sky, no strange sound, just a voice. It spread across every screen, every radio, every speaker, even devices that were turned off. A deep voice, cold and commanding, spoke words that froze billions of hearts. Humanity of Earth, kneel before the Galactic Council. Obey, and you may live. Resist, and you will be erased. At first, people thought it was a trick, a hacked signal, some new kind of cyber attack. But then, the skies lit up. Across the world, strange symbols appeared above the clouds, glowing like fire, written in a language no human knew. Then they changed, forming words in English, Chinese, Russian, Arabic, every language on Earth. Kneel or be destroyed. Panic spread. Families huddled together, watching the skies. Governments called emergency meetings. Military bases scrambled jets, even though no clear enemy could be seen. News channels played the message again and again. Experts argued live on aliens. Were real, they had arrived, and their first words to humanity were not peace, not friendship, but domination. Inside the United Nations, leaders shouted across the hall. Some demanded surrender. "We cannot fight something that crosses the stars," one said. Others demanded resistance. "If we kneel, we become slaves. Better to die standing." The room filled with fear and anger, but outside, something strange happened. Not everyone was afraid. Some people laughed. The arrogance of the demand, the way the voice spoke as if humanity were ants. The symbols in the sky like a cheap trick to frighten children. In cities, in villages, even in shelters, people shook their heads and smiled. Aliens had crossed the stars. They had technology far beyond human understanding. They had power humanity could not measure. Yet they had chosen to open with a single demand: kneel. The laughter grew louder. At first it was nervous laughter, the kind that hides fear. Soon it became real. Soldiers laughed as they loaded weapons. Scientists laughed as they replayed the alien signal, analyzing its flaws. Civilians laughed because deep down they felt something the aliens could never understand: pride. On the other side of the stars, in a grand chamber of the Galactic Council, alien representatives watched. Dozens of species sat in high thrones. Their forms strange and terrible, scaled, feathered, clawed, winged. They had crushed hundreds of worlds. They had brought countless species to their knees. None had ever resisted. None had ever dared to laugh. "Why do they mock us?" one asked, his voice filled with disgust. "They should fear us," another hissed. "Their world should be weeping." But the recordings showed humans laughing in streets, in homes, even in their government halls. To the council, it was madness. To humanity, it was defiance. Back on Earth, the message played one final time. The voice grew sharper, angrier. "You have one cycle to answer. Kneel, or your cities will burn." Silence followed. The symbols in the sky faded. The world held its breath. In Washington, Moscow, Beijing, London, leaders argued. Should humanity stall for time? Should they beg for mercy? Should they prepare to fight? No decision came. The fear was too heavy, but in one hidden base beneath the Nevada desert, a single ship was being prepared. Not the strongest, not the largest, but the first vessel designed to carry humanity's answer into the void. Its crew sat in silence, waiting for orders. Finally, the order came. The captain, a woman with gray hair and tired eyes, looked at her crew. "They told us to kneel," she said. "What do we tell them?" One young officer smiled. His voice shook, but there was pride in it. "We tell them no." The captain nodded. The ship rose from its hangar, cutting through the night sky. Across the world, eyes turned upward as the small craft broke through the atmosphere. It carried no massive weapon, no super technology, only a message. The ship's transmitter lit, connecting to the same network the aliens had hijacked. Billions watched their screens as a human face appeared. Captain looked straight into the camera. "To the Galactic Council," she said, her voice calm. You cross the stars to demand our submission. You look at us as if we are weak. You think, we will kneel. But here this humanity does not kneel. There was a pause. She leaned closer. We laugh. Then she cut the transmission. The galaxy received Earth's answer. Not surrender, not fear, not silence, but laughter. And far above, in the darkness between stars, the fleets of the Council began to move. Humanity had spoken, and war was coming. The Council did not wait long. 3 days after Earth's defiance, the sky split open. Above the moon, space shimmered and cracked like broken glass. Out of the rift came the first alien warships. Dark, sharp, and vast, they glided forward without a sound. To the human eye, they looked like blades of black metal stretching kilometers long. They were not the full strength of the Council. Just scouts, just a test, enough to frighten most worlds into surrender. Earth watched them arrive. Cameras on satellites showed the ships blotting out the stars. Their numbers were not in the thousands, not even in the hundreds, only 20. But 20 was more than enough. Each ship carried weapons that could level continents. Each one had shields that no human missile could pierce. On the surface, panic grew again. People screamed in shelters. Families prayed in temples and churches. Broadcasters said the same words again and again. Earth cannot win. Resistance is suicide. But in secret bases across the world, generals whispered something different. Earth would not kneel. Not now. Not ever. The first clash began when one alien ship drifted too close to Earth's orbit. It hovered above the Pacific, its hull glowing with strange light. Within seconds, it released a warning shot. Spear of energy struck the ocean, boiling. The sea for miles. Waves rose higher than mountains. Coastal cities shook. Millions watched as the message was clear. We can destroy you whenever we choose. The alien commander inside the vessel leaned back in his throne, certain the humans would soon beg for peace. But Earth did not send surrender. Instead, the first human warships rose from their launch bays. Old ships, rusted designs, nothing compared to alien craft. The Resolute, the Dauntless, the Goliath. Vessels once considered outdated, now patched and armed with everything humanity had. They were not enough, but they would try. In homes across the planet, people turned on their screens and saw the ships rise. No one laughed this time. Mocked, but no one begged for mercy either. The world watched with tight fists, whispering, "Fight." The alien commander chuckled when he saw the human fleet. To him, they looked like children throwing rocks at giants. He gave the order. Energy beams lanced out from the alien ship, striking the Dauntless. Shields failed instantly. Fire spread along its hull. The ship spun, breaking apart. Thousands of human lives vanished in a flash of light. The world gasped. The Council expected Earth to cry out, to surrender, to fall on its knees at last. But instead, the human fleet kept moving. The Resolute and the Goliath charged forward. Missiles launched, railguns fired, streaks of light filled the void. Every shot bounced harmlessly off the alien shields. The commander laughed again. "Pitiful," he muttered. But then something unexpected happened. The Resolute turned off all weapons and engines, going dark. It drifted like a dead ship, floating straight toward the alien cruiser. Confused, the aliens hesitated. Then the Goliath fired all its missiles not at the alien ship, but at the Resolute. The alien crew sneered. Were humans insane? Were they destroying their own ship? But when the missiles struck, the trap revealed itself. The Resolute's hull opened, releasing hundreds of drones, small machines powered by nothing more than human stubbornness and stolen scraps of alien tech from old crash sites. The missiles ignited the drones' cores, sending them burning straight into the alien shields. And the impossible happened, for a single moment. The alien shields flickered. Just a crack, just a hole wide enough for one railgun shot. Now the Goliath took the chance. Its gun fired, a single slug of dense metal, pierced the alien ship's armor and ripped through its reactor. The alien cruiser exploded, the first kill on Earth. Billions screamed not in fear, but in triumph. Humanity had destroyed an alien warship, the first in history. The Council had expected surrender. Instead, they had tasted loss. But the price was high. The Dauntless was gone. The Resolute had sacrificed itself. Half the human fleet was destroyed. In minutes. Still, the aliens retreated. Not because they were defeated, but because they were afraid. Never in the history of the Council had a lesser race destroyed one of their ships. It was not supposed to be possible. The alien commander's final message, sent before retreating, was filled with rage. They are not prey. They are something else. Back on Earth, the survivors returned to base. The Goliath limped home, scarred and broken, but alive. In its command deck, the captain stood before his crew. His voice was quiet, but firm. "They told us to kneel," he said, "and yet today we made them bleed." The crew laughed not in joy, but in disbelief, in defiance. A strange, fearless laughter that carried across every recording, every broadcast. The same laughter that made the galaxy shiver. And far above, in the cold darkness, more rifts began to open. The Council was not done. The real war was only beginning. The galaxy expected Earth to break after the first clash. A single skirmish had cost humanity dearly. One warship lost, another sacrificed, thousands dead. Most species, after losing so much, would surrender. That was the logic of the Council. Fear was their weapon. Fear kept the galaxy in line, but Earth did not bend. Instead, something strange happened. While cities mourned their dead, while families wept for lost sons and daughters, laughter still echoed in the streets. Soldiers, engineers, even civilians told the story of the battle, how humans had cracked the shield, how the slug of metal had destroyed an alien warship. They laughed at the arrogance of the Council, laughed at the idea of kneeling to the aliens. It was madness. To humanity, it was strength. Behind closed doors, Earth's leaders met again. This time, their voices were not filled with fear. They were sharp, cold, focused. The first clash had proven something: Vitalians were not gods. Their ships could be destroyed, their shields could be broken, their fleets were not invincible. But the leaders also knew the truth. Humanity could not win by brute force. Council's full fleets numbered in the thousands. Earth had only a handful of warships. If humanity tried to match strength with strength, it would end in fire and ash. So, they turned to secrets. For decades, governments had hidden certain discoveries. Strange materials dug from deep impact craters. Odd machines buried under Antarctic ice. Wreckage pulled from the ocean floor. Wreckage that had never been explained. Rumors had always whispered of alien visits in the past. Now, the truth could not be denied. Humanity had been preparing for this war long before the Council arrived. In the deserts of Nevada, engineers walked through underground hangars. There, hidden from the world, were ships unlike anything humanity had ever admitted to building. Hybrids, half-human design, half-alien scrap. Not sleek, not perfect, but deadly in their own way. In Siberia, deep beneath the permafrost, scientists activated weapons powered by strange crystals, technology salvaged from things that had fallen from the sky generations ago. Weapons that had never been tested in open battle. And in the Pacific, submarines rose to the surface, carrying launch systems that no civilian had ever heard of. These were humanity's shadows, its hidden teeth. When the Council first demanded submission, they thought humanity would kneel in fear. The truth was different. Humanity had been preparing for a day like this. Quietly, secretly, patiently. Still, even with these secrets, doubt remained. Could these half-built weapons stand? Against fleets that had crushed empires? Could scraps of alien tech save Earth? The next test came sooner than expected. 5 alien warships appeared in orbit, larger and stronger than the first group. They were not scouts this time. They were hunters. Their commanders sent no message, no demand. Only a single phrase, cold. And final, "Your laughter ends today." The world braced for destruction. Satellites watched the ships position themselves, their weapons charged, glowing with deadly energy. Then something unexpected happened. A ripple spread across the sky. For a moment, every camera, every sensor went blind. When vision returned, the aliens saw something they did not believe. Human ships. Not old and patched this time, new. Dark, strange. Their hulls gleamed with alien alloys fused into human steel. Their shapes were sharp, almost predatory. They were not as large as the Council's warships, but they radiated defiance. The lead ship broadcast on all channels. The captain's voice was calm, almost amused. You wanted us on our knees. Instead, you will see us standing tall. The battle began. Alien warships unleashed their fire, beams cutting across the void. But this time, the human ships did not break so easily. Strange shields flickered around them unstable, imperfect, but strong enough to block the first wave. Missiles roared, guided by human hands, but powered with alien cores. Railguns spat fire faster, sharper, stronger than before. One alien cruiser fell. Then another. The Council's commander snarled. Impossible. They cannot have this technology. But they did, because humanity had never been alone. For decades, they had studied. For decades, they had built in secret. The galaxy watched as the impossible unfolded. Earth was not just surviving. Earth was striking back. Still, the cost was heavy. The hybrid ships burned with every hit. Their shields shattered after minutes. Entire crews gave their lives to hold the line. But they did not kneel. Even as fire consumed their vessels, they laughed, voices echoing through coms, heard across the world. The alien commander retreated again. His report to the Council was short, but heavy with fear. Humans are not what we thought. They carry secrets. They carry fire. They are Deathworlders, and they are laughing. Back on Earth, the people gathered in the streets. They mourned. The dead. But their laughter returned. Not foolish laughter, not nervous laughter. It was the sound of a species that had faced the impossible and found hope. Children shouted in the streets, "We do not kneel." Soldiers repeated the words as they reloaded their rifles. Engineers whispered them as they repaired broken ships. The Council had expected submission. What they found instead was defiance wrapped in laughter and secrets waiting to be unleashed. And, in the deepest shadows of Earth, darker projects stirred. Weapons too dangerous to reveal yet. Engines that could change the balance of war. Humanity was not done. Humanity was only beginning. Far away in the Council chamber, fear spread like fire. For the first time in centuries, the Council faced something they had not seen in ages. A species that would not kneel. A species that laughed at death. A species that had secrets hidden even the galaxy could not imagine. The war was no longer just about Earth, it was about survival, and the galaxy was beginning to realize. Perhaps it was the Council who should kneel. The Council finally grew tired of games. The first skirmishes had been meant to frighten. The second assault had been meant to test. Both had failed. Now the Council decided on something final. The siege of Earth. It began with shadows. Night after night, telescopes caught faint flashes. In the sky, civilian stargazers reported strange shapes moving across the heavens, blotting out constellations. Then came the official warnings. Satellites showed hundreds of warships approaching. The invasion had begun. Across Earth, alarms rang. Cities prepared shelters. Military bases activated their last defenses. Families whispered in the dark, knowing this time it was not a small fleet. This time the Council had come in force. Above the planet, space tore open. Rift after rift bled light into the void. Through them poured the Council's warships, sleek, enormous, countless. They filled the orbit like a black storm. Their weapons glowed red. Their engines burned bright. For the first time, humanity saw the true scale of the enemy. It was not 20 ships, not 50, not even 100. It was thousands, The council surrounded Earth from every side. The moon itself was swallowed by their shadows. There was no escape. The council's voice returned, carried across every channel, cold and merciless. This is your last chance? Kneel, and we will spare a fragment of your people. Refuse, and we erase you. The demand echoed in every home, on every screen, in every language, and yet the answer was the same. Laughter on the front lines. Soldiers laughed as they armed their rifles, knowing they might not live another hour. In control rooms, engineers laughed nervously as they powered up half-broken hybrid ships. In bunkers, children laughed without knowing why, copying the adults around them. Humanity's laughter had become something more than defiance. It was unity. The council commanders did not understand it. "They are cornered," one growled. "Why do they laugh? They believe they can win," another hissed. "They are wrong." The order was given. The first wave of alien fire rained down. Beams of light cut across the skies, striking military bases, vaporizing ships and dockyards, ripping apart satellites. Whole cities trembled under the bombardment. Earth burned. But then the humans struck back. Hidden cannons buried under mountains opened fire, launching rail slugs that ripped through the vacuum and shattered smaller alien craft. Submarines hidden deep in the oceans released missiles tipped with hybrid warheads. Drones swarmed from secret hangars, slamming into alien shields with suicidal force. It was chaos. Fire and metal filled the skies. From the ground, people watched. The battle above, as the night sky glowed red, as if the stars themselves were burning. Families cried, but still they whispered the same words: "We do not kneel." The council commanders soon realized the humans had planned for this. Earth itself had become a fortress. Every mountain, every ocean, every orbiting rock was turned into a weapon. Guerrilla strikes hit supply ships. Decoys lured alien vessels into ambushes. Even satellites disguised as debris exploded with deadly force. The siege dragged on. Hours turned to days. Cities fell, then rose again. Some were reduced to ash, but their survivors fought on with rifles, hacking tools, even firebombs. The council had faced rebellions before, but never like this. In the chamber of the council's high commander, reports poured in. They resist on every front. They do not flee. They do not surrender. They fight even with nothing left. The high commander's voice shook with anger. "Why are they smiling while we burn their world?" No one answered. Because the truth was simple. Humans had something the council had never seen before. Hope, even in fire. Even in ruin. Even at the edge of extinction. The council grew desperate. They tightened the siege surrounding Earth so tightly that no ship could escape. Their fleets focused fire on major cities: New York, Moscow, Beijing, London, Cairo, Tokyo. Millions died. Billions lived in fear. And yet across the ashes, laughter still spread. Soldiers recorded themselves shouting into coms, "We're still here." Civilians painted words on broken walls: "We do not kneel." Engineers scrawled jokes on the sides of missiles before launching them into the void. The council called it madness. To humanity, it was freedom. But the siege was not only about destruction. In secret, human fleets moved. While the council focused on Earth, hidden ships slipped into deep space. They were not fleeing. They were not running. They were preparing. The council did not know that humanity's true strength was not just its weapons, not just its hybrid ships, but its will to fight beyond Earth, back on the burning planet inside. A hidden bunker, Earth's leaders broadcast a message to the world. The president spoke, her face marked with ash, her voice calm despite the chaos. "They want us to kneel," she said. But humanity was never built to kneel. We stand, we fight, we laugh. And one day they will see us not as prey, but as the hunters we are. As the message spread across the networks, reaching every surviving corner of the world. Soldiers in trenches cheered. Civilians in shelters raised their fists. Children repeated the words like a prayer. Above them, the councils. Fleets tightened the noose. Earth burned brighter than ever. But in the shadows of space, Humanity's counterstrike was already preparing. The siege of Earth was only the beginning. The siege of Earth dragged on. Weeks passed, cities burned, oceans boiled. Dead. The Council expected the world to break, to collapse into silence. But humanity did not. Every strike brought another laugh, another act of defiance, another attack from the shadows, and then came the turning point. It began with silence. 4. 3 nights alien sensors picked up strange signals from deep orbit, weak, flickering codes, almost like distress calls. At first, the Council ignored them. Humanity had been trying tricks for weeks. Decoys, false signals, traps. Nothing new. But then one of the codes matched something the Council feared. An ancient encryption, one used only by the Council's own fleets. Confused alien commanders moved ships to investigate. They thought perhaps a rebel species had stolen their codes, or perhaps a mistake in their own systems. They did not realize it was a human plan. Far above Earth, in the cold dark, a small human fleet waited. These were not old ships. They were not patched cruisers. They were something new, hybrid vessels built from wreckage, armed with stolen tech, powered by alien cores humanity barely understood, crude, unstable, but deadly. The fleet's leader, Captain Reza Hale, stood on the bridge. Of the Vigilant, his crew watched him in silence. They knew they were outnumbered. They knew this mission might kill them. But they also knew the eyes of the world were upon them. Reza spoke only one line before the attack began. They told us to kneel. Today we make them fall. The trap was simple, brutal, and desperate. Human engineers had learned one terrible truth from the first battles. Alien shields were nearly perfect, but not indestructible. They flickered when overloaded. And if hit in just the right place, with just the right timing, the shield collapsed for seconds. That was enough. As the alien ships moved to investigate the false codes, the Vigilant and her fleet struck. Missiles screamed across the void. Railguns spat fire. Drones launched in swarms, each one carrying unstable fusion cores. The first alien cruiser was caught off guard. Shields cracked. The human fleet poured everything into the hole. The cruiser exploded. The galaxy had seen humans kill a Council ship before, but never like this. Not in a planned battle. Not in an open war. The alien commander roared in fury. His fleet turned on. The humans. Hundreds of weapons lit the dark. The Vigilant shook under the storm. 2 human ships burned instantly. A third split apart, its crew lost to the void. Still, the humans laughed as they died. Their last transmissions echoed across. "Channels, keep hitting them!" And they did. The Vigilant dove close to another alien ship, weaving through fire that should have vaporized it. At point-blank range, the crew fired their railgun. The slug tore through the alien vessel's bridge. Another ship fell, 2 down. The alien commander hesitated. Never had prey fought like this. Never had prey bled the hunters so badly. His hesitation was all the humans needed. From behind Earth's moon, more hybrid ships emerged, reinforcements. They had been hidden for weeks, waiting for this moment. Together, the fleet struck. Alien shields collapsed. Human missiles hit reactors. One by one, alien ships fell. When the battle ended, the impossible had happened. Out of 20 alien cruisers, only 6 escaped. 14 were destroyed. And humanity's fleet, though broken, though bleeding dash remained, it was a turning point. The galaxy watched in shock. Billions of alien civilians across thousands of worlds saw the recordings. They saw primitive humans fighting the greatest fleet and winning. They saw ships built from scraps destroying armadas that had crushed empires. Whispers began to spread. Maybe the Council is not invincible. Maybe the humans can win. Back on Earth, the survivors of the Vigilant returned to orbit. Crowds gathered in the ruined cities, cheering, crying, shouting the same words again and again. We do not kneel. Even in the Council chambers, fear spread. Representatives of other species whispered in secret corners. Some argued humanity must be erased at once. Others wondered what if the humans could not be erased. What if siding with them was safer? But the high commanders only grew more furious. "They are a plague," one shouted. "They must be burned before they spread." Yet beneath their anger was something they had not felt in centuries. Doubt. The humans had cracked their shields. Humans had turned scraps into weapons. The humans had laughed in the face of death and won. And still, the humans were not done. In hidden bunkers, engineers worked on stranger weapons machines that bent gravity, cannons that tore space. None were finished. None were stable. They were coming. The turning point was not just the destruction of 14 alien ships. It was the birth of belief that humanity could not only survive, but when Captain Reza Hale stood on the bridge of the damaged Vigilant, looking at the wreckage drifting in orbit, his crew was exhausted, wounded, broken. But they were alive. He turned to them and spoke quietly. "They told us to kneel. And yet today, the galaxy saw them fall." His crew laughed. Weak laughter, tired laughter, but it spread, as it always did, across the ship, across the world, across the stars. The siege of Earth was not over. But now the galaxy knew humanity would not break. And somewhere deep inside, the Council knew the truth. The laughter was only beginning. The alien empire believed they had already won. Their fleets stood above Earth like dark shadows. Their broadcasts declared that humanity had only two choices: kneel or die. Across the galaxy, other species watched the live transmissions with pity. To them, humans were brave, but hopelessly outnumbered. But Earth did not panic. Earth did not cry out for mercy. Instead, humans whispered among themselves, shared quiet smiles, and prepared. When the alien emperor made his final speech, his voice booming across the skies of Earth, he said, "You have one last hour to kneel before us." He expected tears, expected fear. But in every city, from New York to Tokyo, from Moscow to Lagos, people did not bow. They stood tall, watching the sky as if waiting for something only they knew was coming. The emperor did not understand. His advisors felt uneasy. One of them, a gray-skinned minister with trembling hands, whispered, "Sire, something is wrong. The humans do not act like the defeated." But the emperor only laughed. At the same time, in the shadows of Earth's orbit, something moved. The alien fleets thought they had blocked all escape routes. They thought they had scanned every rock and every satellite. They were wrong. From the dark side of the moon, massive shapes began to stir. They were hidden behind cloaking fields, covered in layers of false signals that looked like harmless debris. For weeks, humans had been hiding their strongest weapons right under alien noses. The first warship appeared, a vessel larger than any alien ship in orbit. Its hull was black, covered with strange glowing lines that pulsed like veins. The alien fleet immediately sent warnings, but then 3 more ships emerged, then 10, then 20. The Emperor's laughter stopped. The humans had kept their secret well. While the world believed Earth was weak, while the galaxy thought humans only had fragile fleets, the truth was far different. Earth had been building warships, powered by technology the aliens did not understand. The alien generals panicked. Their fleets reformed, pointing thousands of cannons toward the human warships. But the humans did not fire first. Instead, Earth sent a signal. It was broadcast across every alien channel, across every world that watched. It was not a threat. It was not a plea. It was a message spoken in a calm, steady voice. "You told us to kneel. You told us to break, but you forgot one thing. Humans do not kneel. We stand. We fight. And when the moment comes, we laugh at those who try to chain us." The galaxy watched in silence. Billions of eyes stared at the human fleet, rising from the darkness. Then the first shot was fired. It came not from the aliens, but from Earth itself. A massive energy beam shot up from a hidden installation in the deserts of Australia. It pierced through one of the alien dreadnoughts, splitting it in two like paper. The wreckage fell in flames. Crashing into the ocean below, the aliens screamed in shock. They had believed they controlled every weapon on Earth. But humanity had built weapons underground, hidden in mountains, buried in deserts, floating beneath the seas. One by one, they awoke. Missiles launched from silos that the aliens thought were destroyed. Submarines rose from the depths, firing torpedoes at orbital platforms. Entire cities lit up with hidden defenses, blasting the skies with beams of pure energy. And above it all, the human warships from the moon charged forward. The alien emperor shouted orders. Thousands of alien ships opened fire, the skies exploding. With light, but the humans moved differently. Their ships dodged and weaved with impossible precision. Guided by something beyond alien understanding, for the first time, the invincible alien fleets found themselves pushed back. The galaxy could not believe it. For years, no one had stood against the Emperor's power. For years, worlds had bent the knee without question. But now, here were the humans, outnumbered, outgunned, yet laughing in the face of doom. On Earth, people stood on rooftops, watching the battle above. When the first alien ship fell, they cheered. When the second exploded, they laughed. As more ships burned, humanity's laughter spread like fire. It was no longer just a battle. It was a turning point. The aliens realized too late the humans had planned this from the beginning. They had allowed the Empire to believe Earth was weak. They had allowed the Emperor to speak his threats. And when the moment was right, they struck with everything they had hidden. The Emperor stared at the flames consuming his fleet, his face twisted with rage. This is impossible. They're primitives. They cannot fight us like this. But still, the humans fought. Still, they laughed. And still, they stood unbroken, for the first time in centuries. The galaxy saw the Empire bleed, and it was only the beginning. The galaxy had grown silent. The great alien fleets that once shouted orders across the stars now whispered in fear. Their empires, once proud and vast, were now fractured. Planets that had flown the banners of the strongest species now drifted in uncertainty. The reason was clear to everyone: the humans had refused to kneel, and their laughter had broken the illusion of alien dominance. On the council world of Lorith Prime, chaos ruled the chamber. The high leaders who had once forced entire civilizations to submit now argued like frightened children. Their fleets had been destroyed in battles they thought they could never lose. Their armies, so sure of their superiority, had been crushed by humans who fought with strange courage and unyielding spirit. The humans should have been weak, shouted one counselor, his scales trembling with rage. They were supposed to kneel. They laughed. Another whispered, her voice hollow. Do you not understand? They did not fear us. They mocked us. That single thought had spread like fire across the galaxy. When humanity laughed in the face of a demand for surrender, it shattered the fear that had held countless species in chains. Rebellions erupted in hidden corners. Old enemies of the Empire rose again. The mighty council found itself surrounded, not only by human fleets, but also by former subjects who no longer obeyed in deep space. Aboard the Terran flagship Iron Resolve, Admiral Reyes listened to the reports. Holograms of broken fleets filled the room. The humans had not fought a lone small species. Once silent and afraid, had joined them. Every victory inspired more worlds to rise. What began as humanity's defiance was turning into a galaxy-wide uprising. But Reyes knew the danger was not over. Do not think the Empire is finished, he warned his officers. A wounded beast is still deadly. It will strike again, harder, more desperate than ever. His words proved true. The fractured alien empire, humiliated and beaten, tried to gather its strength. They promised one final war to crush the humans. Factories burned through resources, new ships were forged, and desperate commanders were given command of fleets. But there was one problem. Their soldiers no longer believed in them. In battle after battle, human ships met alien fleets head-on. Where the Empire's admirals barked orders with fear, human captains inspired their crews with courage. Nowhere. Alien soldiers fought for survival. Humans fought for freedom. That difference broke the Empire piece by piece. On the planet Droska, Council General landed with an army to retake control, promised his troops that humans would finally kneel. Instead, They found the streets filled with rebels holding banners painted with crude drawings of laughing humans. The soldiers hesitated. For the first time, they questioned why they fought. When the humans arrived to support the rebels, the alien army surrendered without a single shot. The laughter had spread. It was no longer just human laughter, it was the laughter of 1,000 species who realized they did not have to live in fear anymore. The council leaders, once seen as gods, now hid behind walls of steel. They argued over who was to blame, who should face the humans, who should lead, but no one volunteered. No one wanted to be the next fool who demanded surrender from a species that only answered with mockery. On Earth, people watched these reports with a mix of shock and pride. They had never asked to lead a galactic rebellion, yet somehow they had become the center of it. Some feared what this power meant. Others believed it was destiny. Humanity, once ignored and underestimated, was now a force that reshaped the stars. But in the shadows, deep within the broken empire, there were whispers of something darker. Ancient weapons, hidden long before humans rose, were being uncovered. Desperate leaders planned to use them not only to defeat Earth but to destroy entire systems if needed. Admiral Reyes looked at the reports of these weapons with a cold stare. "They will not go quietly," he said. "The Empire is broken, but it is not finished. The most dangerous moment is still ahead of us." And he was right. The humans had broken the Empire's pride. It made the galaxy laugh at tyranny. But the enemy, cornered and afraid, was ready to unleash horrors that no one had seen. For thousands of years, the laughter had changed. Everything but war was not yet over. The galaxy had grown silent. Once the alien council chambers rang with demands, threats, and endless speeches about Earth's place in the stars. But now, after months of war, after fleets had burned and empires had cracked, silence spread like smoke through the void. On the edge of Sol System, the last of the Council's armada drifted in pieces. Shattered cruisers, broken carriers, and wrecks of ships that had once terrified other civilizations floated lifeless, their power cores dark. The humans had not just defended themselves, they had reshaped the balance of the galaxy. Yet victory did not bring comfort. Inside the United Earth flagship Iron Resolve, leaders of humanity gathered one last time. The demand that started it all still lingered in everyone's mind: kneel or be destroyed. Those words had once echoed like thunder, but now they were dust. General Marcus stood at the table, his hands pressed flat against the glowing tactical screen. "They wanted us on our knees," he said in a steady voice. "Instead, they are the ones begging for mercy." Around him, the room was filled with silence. No one cheered. No one laughed. Humanity had won, but the cost was burned into every soldier's memory. Millions of lives, both human and alien, had been lost in battles sparked by arrogance and fear. Dr. Evelyn Cho, who had seen the horrors firsthand, leaned forward. "The council is fractured. Half of their members are gone. The rest hide in their worlds, too afraid to speak. They will never unite against us again." The Admiral nodded. "So the question is, what now? Do we show them mercy, or do we finish what they started?" The debate was sharp. Some demanded peace, believing the galaxy had seen enough blood. Others argued that mercy would only invite another challenge in time. Humans had proven their strength, but strength, once shown, always attracted more enemies. As the discussion raged, a transmission cut across the command deck. An alien face appeared, worn, defeated, and trembling. It was the voice of the Council's last speaker, a being who had once shouted for humanity's chains. Now, his voice cracked as he spoke. "You humans," he whispered, "you were supposed to kneel. You were supposed to know your place. But you laughed at us, and now we are broken." No one on the human side answered. They simply listened. The alien's eyes darted across the screen, full of fear and disbelief. "We don't understand you," he continued. "You fight like predators, but you speak of peace. You kill without hesitation, yet you mourn every death. What are you? What are humans?" The channel cut. A deep silence followed. And then, finally, Marcus spoke again. "We are what they will never understand. We are laughter in the face of fear. We are defiance when the universe demands surrender. We are humanity and we kneel to no one. Those words became the message. Earth broadcast across the stars. Not as a threat, not as a boast, but as a truth. Across countless systems, alien species listened. Some wept in relief, for they too had lived under the Council's shadow. Others trembled, unsure if humanity would now turn its gaze on them. But Earth did not march forward as conquerors. Instead, they rebuilt. They honored the dead. They reached out to those who had suffered under the Council's hand, offering aid. An alliance instead of chains? In time, the galaxy learned a truth that would never be forgotten. Humanity did not rise to kneel, nor to dominate, but to stand. And when they stood together, nothing could break them. Generations later, old veterans would tell their children how it all began, how an arrogant council demanded humanity kneel, how Earth laughed, and how that laugh echoed so loudly that the stars themselves still carried the sound. For the first time, the galaxy understood humans were not to be tamed, not to be owned, and never to be broken. And so the final answer of Earth was written in history. When told to kneel, humanity answered, with laughter and changed the galaxy forever.